Would like to talk about 5 major ways that coaching changed my life. In the beginning of my career as a coach, I used to talk a lot about what coaching is and how it helped me change my life. And I feel like ever since then, I haven't really dedicated much time to talking about how powerful coaching can be and what this has done to my life. And I thought for anyone who's new, and especially the ones who have maybe just found me and started following me, this might be a great episode for you to know how you can use coaching as well to change your life in ways that you might not have even experienced or imagined was possible. So the first way that I want to explain and express, sorry, I forgot that I wanted to record my speaking with my transcriber so that I have it later in the written form. And that's why, let me just quickly start my, yes, it is working. Okay. So, the first way that coaching has changed my life, that really made me understood what coaching is when I was suffering from burnout and depression for 2 years straight. And the way that coaching helped me change how I no longer need to be burning out myself. I no longer need to stay in depression and also understand why I was in depressed state for this long was one of the mind-blowing experiences that I think made me realize how powerful of a human I was as well, to be able to solve burnout and depression in ways that not only that I no longer had it, but also no longer the fear of having burnout and depression, right? So I think it's one of those like the most life-changing things when you know that not only that you don't need to be afraid of being or having depression and burnout, but also knowing you never need to worry about it anymore. And this level of realization of how my emotional state, my belief systems, my way of seeing myself, my way of interacting with the world, all of this had been contributing to burnout and depression, and how I no longer needed to even have it. And this was thanks to coaching, right? So, whenever I was thinking about what are the 5 ways that I can really explain how coaching changed my life, I would always say the first thing that made me realize, and this was 2015 when I actually started coaching, getting coaching, and learning more about why do I interact with the world this way? Why do I interact with my colleagues and supervisors in this way? Why do I keep fixating on the past when actually what I want to do is building the future? I started really realizing, oh, all of this burnout and depression was coming from me really feeling I was not in charge of my life, as if I kept feeling like as if the UN system is in charge of my life. My father back in the day was in charge of my life. Other people's judgments were in charge of my life. Other like I don't know, dates that I would go on would be in charge of my life, but never feeling like I'm in charge of my life, and how actually I want to intentionally live this life. And this is how coaching helped me realize, okay, not only how I no longer need to have burnout and depression and I can actually solve it myself once and for all, but also how I can intentionally live the life I want to, instead of just keep going and surviving and trying for the hoping for the best, right? And I would say one of the biggest ways that I was able to solve burnout and depression was thanks to solving my worthiness issues. This was it. I would say, if for anyone listening who is really thinking about coaching or maybe other forms of support, I would really encourage for you to look at, okay, what are the worthiness issues that keeps coming up in terms of, am I worthy, am I enough, I'm not enough, and can I do this, am I worthy to have this life, and all of this. Once you solve it, then a lot of the topics around burnout and depression, you are able to solve it. At least this was my experience. So that was the first powerful way to realize how coaching was life changing. And this led me to then learn more about how to become a coach, even though I wasn't planning at the time when I started my coaching journey in 2019. I never even thought that I would become a coach. I was just learning all the tools to help myself and be very professional at helping myself, essentially, right? And that's when I started learning about coaching and become a coach. And by 2020 April, I got my certification. Now, the second way that coaching helped me change and transform my life was when I realized how constantly I was a victim of my life. And I can't even like specifically talk about how and what are the ways I have been victim of my life for 30 years prior, right? And the way that I used to feel victim of my life is, as I said, not only feeling like in charge, but also victim of my decisions, right? And the way that victim of my decisions look like in practice would be, on the one hand, I would keep saying, I want to stay in the UN, I want to work and do all the things. On the other, keep forcing myself to go to work every day as if someone was forcing me to do it, right? In other words, I made a decision to stay and I made a decision even to come back after quitting. I made a decision to stay, but then I kept forcing myself to go to work, meaning that I was feeling like I was feeling like a victim of my own decisions, essentially. And then forcing myself, meaning resisting to go to work, but then forcing myself to go to work, which already exhausted me in the morning when I arrived at work, right? So one of the major ways that I was feeling victim of my life is kept feeling victim to my own decision. So I made a decision and then I kept doing everything to go against that decision while not changing anything, right? Another way that I kept feeling like a victim is a victim of my thoughts and emotional state. Right. So I would have a lot of thoughts and emotional state, and I wouldn't really know what to do with them, as if like they were just trying to put pressure and stress over me. I would just believe all of my thoughts, all of my emotional state, and then stay in the indulgent state of how pity I feel, how self bitchery I feel, how this is not how it should be, and all of those emotions all day long, every day. And another big way, obviously, that I was feeling victim is to money, obviously, right? Meaning that I kept feeling like I don't know how to make my money things work if I leave. I don't know how to sustain myself. Therefore, I have to just stay where I am. And this is also, I keep talking to my clients about how not to be a victim to our decisions, to our money, to our thoughts processes, to our dependencies, right? And dependency is another one, is feeling unsafe if I left the UN. And this is also one of the biggest topics that I work on with my clients, is how not to be dependent on the system anymore. And the way not to be dependent anymore is by learning how to generate the safety and security and stability within us instead of abdicating it to the UN. So, the third way that coaching helped me change my life was finally recognizing and realizing I was a free, autonomous human being. And I laugh every time I think about it because somehow we all believe and I don't know, assume that is the case, right? I believe that you also assume that this is the case, that you are a free human. You can do whatever you want in life. You can choose to work on the cause that you want to. You can choose to work in with this duty station or this city. You can choose to create this type of relationships, right? We all believe, I think, in the like overall scheme that we are free, autonomous human beings. But then when it comes to the granular level, to look at, okay, what kind of choices are we making? What kind of lives we're living? Then it starts feeling like, are we really free or not, right? Especially, are we really free from our own fears and worries or not? Or they're just imposing us to being in situations that we actually don't want anymore. And therefore, me realizing how I am the free, autonomous human being who is powerful enough to do whatever I want, wherever I want, however I want to live my life, was the realization that I received or I realized in 2020 that led me then to transition to living the life that I want to, and leaving the UN and starting my coaching journey and making the replicating the UN Peace Free Salary and more, and all of these things, right? So all of this was possible because I deeply recognized how I am the free, autonomous human being who gets to live the life the way that she wants to, instead of keep allowing the circumstances tell what is possible, instead of allowing the other people's judgments to tell what's possible or what's not possible, or instead of allowing my inner fears dictate what is possible and what's not, right? I realized and decided this is how I want to live my life. At that time, I wanted to live with my loved ones. I wanted to work on the thing that I actually believed and replicate my UN3 salary, P3 salary. And that was a goal. And I have achieved it and beyond. And I just want to give big credit to how I was able to do that. It was because of and thanks to coaching. And the fourth one is solving any problems. And I think this is one of the great skill that many humanitarians already possess, but I can also see as I accompany them during transitioning period, I can also see that a lot of them don't believe in their ability to do this when it comes to their personal independence from the system goals, right? So when it comes to the working for the system, whether it's a UN system or a humanitarian system, whatever it is, we are so good at problem solving and solving a lot of amazing problems that grow us and also create a lot of impact. But when it comes to pursuing our own dreams, our own visions, especially independent of the system, then somehow we start doubting our abilities to solve problems, right? We get very like second guessing about, can we do it, can we make this work, how can we make it work, and all of this. And therefore coaching helped me not only understand my own objections around things, meaning why my own brain sabotages me and how it sabotages me and how it keeps me in the safe zone, in the comfort zone, instead of going to actually exploring what is it that I want to do and how I want to do that. And also, coaching helped me realize that no one else is there to be solving those problems. I am the one doing that anyway. So therefore, either I keep waiting for the something magical happening or someone else coming and saving and whatever, or I start solving it myself and then learning and getting so good at how to do that, right? So therefore, I would say the fourth major way that coaching helped me change my life was by having so much confidence in myself to be solving problems that led me to independence from the system rather than keep choosing safe options and settling for safe options, even though that's not what I wanted. And the last point of how coaching helped me change my life would be emotions. And not being afraid of emotions, I would say, is the biggest change that I have made in my life. And this is something that I keep insisting on many humanitarians as well as they transition, is if we're not able to manage our emotions in the way that does not like keep controlling or does not keep derailing us from our road, then we will always give up in the process, or we will not even start the things that we want to. We will not even keep pursuing and being persistent and determined on what we want to achieve, because all of those emotions keep creating a lot of obstacles in the process, right? Whether this emotion is the fear or second guessing, doubting, anxiety, name it. All of those emotions might be, or disappointment is another one, right? All of those emotions might be some of the biggest hurdles that keep stopping us from going for what we want, that keep making us confused as to what is it that we want, that keep making us give up in the process, or keep agreeing to lesser offers than the one that we actually want to. And therefore, managing emotions and not being afraid of them, and most importantly, not being victim to them, is, I think, one of the most liberating achievements that I have achieved in my own life. And coaching was the tool, the means to help me recognize, learn, and realize how much I am in charge of my own emotions rather than my emotions being in charge of me. And this is, I would say, one of the main skill sets that we want to learn, whether we are going to another duty station. I was actually coaching a client yesterday about how she was saying that I don't want to take this P4 offer because the people that surround that duty station are very challenging, and I just want to go to a P2 offer because she had two offers, and I want to just go to that because their like challenges are less and I won't be stressed out, right? And I was telling her that learning how to manage emotions and also learning how to work with challenging people might be one of the most liberating things you can do to yourself, so that you are not deciding to go for like a lesser offer or lesser growth just because you're afraid of being stressed out, or just because you're afraid of not knowing how to work with those people, right? So in all of these, managing emotions becomes such the fundamental aspects of transitioning, of making any transitioning goal happen, and making any transitioning goal successful the way you want to, even better than the one that you had. So that's why I would love for everyone who is thinking about coaching, who is wanting to get coached, who have tried maybe in coaching, I would like for you to at least think about for yourself, what are the things that will help me change my life in the most dramatically positive way, so that you know how powerful you are as a human, as a professional, to be living the life that you want to. And here were the 5 things that helped me do that, and there are a lot of more things, but I wanted to give you at least orientations that you can maybe use in your own life and say, okay, I would like to at least have this shift and change in the way that changes my entire life to the one that I want to. And you can use any of these. And if you would like to work with me on this, I would love to support you making those life-changing decisions and goals a reality.